You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big ups to all of my subscribers. I so appreciate each and every one of y'all. If this is your first time checking out any of my content and you like what you hear today, please make sure before you exit, you hit that like button and definitely subscribe so you will always be informed anytime I'm uploading new content. So anyway, y'all, I wanted to get into this right away. I found this particular tweet to be very disturbing because it is just a major indication that as a black woman, even when you strive to live above and beyond the statistics, above and beyond the stereotype of, you know, not being a single mother, not opting to be a single mother, on top of being a single mother, being an unwedded single mother, that somehow, some way, it is still used against you. And I have spoken on this before. This has not been my first time addressing this particular issue, but prime example, your girl Ashanti, former Murder Inc. artist, who is still, you know, to this day, still enjoying living her best life as a female, career-oriented black woman who has decided to continue to pursue her music and doing her tours. Basically, you don't really hear nothing negative about Ashanti. You don't hear her, you know, being passed around like a blunt, you know, from industry dude to industry dude. She was in a long 10-year relationship with Nelly, and of course, you know, Nelly, being that he was hot and popular at the time as a hip-hop artist, you know, he decided he still wanted to soil his oats or whatever, and he wasn't ready to settle down. So of course, you know, Ashanti, like any other woman who has common sense, after you realize you've put so much time into a man and he does not want to commit to you, you move on. And that's basically what she did. So Ashanti has always, pretty much for the most part, been a clean-cut type of female. You don't really hear a whole lot of negativity about her. She's always been very classy, elegant. You know, I've never really seen her behave or carry herself in a very ratchet manner. So Ashanti is one of the very few sisters that, you know, don't really bring a lot of negative energy to herself, and that's why a lot of people who know of her respect her drive, respect her strive, and you know, she's pretty much well respected. You don't hear too much negative things surrounding this particular woman. However, of course, there's always that one bitter brother who wants to find fault in a woman regardless of how she tries to live her best life. So this particular dude decides to post post a tag on his particular page, and he posted, "I love Ashanti, but 42, no kids, and never been married. Something ain't right." And he puts a laughing emoji. So this just is a prime example of what a lot of you men don't understand, that what we go through as black women. It's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. Would she have been more well respected? Has she been like a Nick Cannon version of a female? You know, had 10 different baby daddies. You know, Nick Cannon is going around here smashing multiple women, not wifing any of them. You know, just having children from them, making all of these single parent households. Of course, these women are volunteers, not victims, and no one really brings Nick Cannon any heat. You have one of few brothers that have caught Nick Cannon out, but this is what we mean, guys, when we say black women, we're going to always be ridiculed regardless of what we do. We don't have kids, something wrong with us. We have multiple children from different men, something's wrong with us. You get what I'm saying? So I found this very, very disturbing, and let me tell you what pissed me off about it. First of all, it had to be a black man who had to make this statement. Secondly, my thing is, aren't y'all always preaching how black women, how we need to avoid just demoting ourselves to being a baby mama? Didn't y'all also say that black women, we have the higher percentage in single parent households? Didn't y'all put it on us that it is our fault why there's so much crime? The crime rates have increased in the black community because we're raising our sons to be, you know, gangsters, and raising our daughters to become another statistics. We already catching a lot of heat. So why not appreciate a black woman who decided not to follow that trend? And trust and believe, just because she's a celebrity, it does not mean she's less exempt from falling into this entrapment. We see a lot of women, you know, within the industry that are demoting themselves straight to baby mamas instead of being a wife. And somehow these sisters get praised. No disrespect to Rihanna, but she's having her second child from ASAP, and it's beautiful and stunning, and the woman is a millionaire. He will not put a ring on it. He may eventually at some point, but I think that should have been done first. But that's besides the point. But anyway, people get mad when you say stuff like that. They'll say you hating, she's having a billionaire baby. What difference does that make? This is the problem. It's not enough of sisters that are making decisions like Ashanti. Ashanti, I have to give her props because anybody else would have done the exact opposite. In fact, a lot of black women are doing the exact opposite. They're feeling like their biological clock is timing out. And what tends to happen is when women start approaching their 40s, especially when you're over the age of 36, that's when, you know, it becomes a high risk factor if a woman decides to have a child, because as they stated, the older you get and you decide to conceive, you stand a high risk of having an unhealthy pregnancy, a child with some type of birth defect, or some type of mental challenge. There's a lot of negative things surrounding women who decide not to have children while their biological clock is still ticking. And the truth be told, I know some young women who didn't wait till they got in their late 30s or late 40s and still had unhealthy babies, still had children with all type of birth defects, cerebral palsy. They say the chances of having a child that's autistic is even higher when you wait as you approach your 40s. When I've seen women who have given children in their 20s and 30s and have had autistic children. No disrespect to autistic moms, I commend you, because that is a very, very challenging situation to be in. And I personally know some women who are doing a phenomenal job, you know, at raising autistic children. Everyone does not have the gift to do so. So there's this narrative that if a woman waits too late in the game, that she's basically putting herself at risk of having an unhealthy child. And I've seen women in their 50s. Janet Jackson waited to her 50s to have her first son, and her first child, period, as far as we know. And her son is fine. So to me, it's not so much an age. I know that is the statistics. That's the narrative that's being pushed and shoved down our throats. That's why you have women who are getting desperate, trying to have as many children as they can once they are over the age of 35. But it does not really so much age. It does play a factor, but it has a lot to do with how a woman takes care of herself health-wise. Ashanti is very healthy looking. I have to give a woman respect where it is due. Very beautiful woman, very voluptuous body. She's working out, she's eating right. She doesn't look like she smokes. If she does drink, it's probably occasionally. So in her case, she could possibly really have a healthy baby in her middle 40s, you know. So you can't knock somebody's age. You got some females in their 20s and 30s and live a very rough life. They smoked out, coked out, doped out, you know, and they still have healthy babies. So, you know, let's not push this narrative, because that's the problem. Women aren't educating themselves enough society as a whole is not educating themselves enough to how a woman's body can still produce a healthy child, depending on how she takes care of herself, what she eats, what type of lifestyle she lives. You know, all is just more than just your age. I really hate that there's not enough of women that are blogging and telling and not trying to make women feel inferior because they decided to do things differently. Because it does take a rocket scientist to figure out. A lot of us as black women, we see how other black women are struggling with parenting, especially when there's not a stable man in your life, a stable father, a man that's committed to you, committed to your child. It does not, everything, a lot of things could be avoided just by observing and paying attention to other people who have not made the best of decisions. Ashanti, like several other women, have decided to opt out of the single mother struggle syndrome, meaning that, oh my gosh, I'm getting over 40 years old. I need to hurry up and cock up and find somebody, anybody that'll give me a baby. When women make rash decisions like this because of fearing about their biological clock, that is usually when they make the worst, that's usually when they pick the worst breed of guys to make that decision with. Because anytime you're rushing into something and you have a man that don't mind rushing into it with you, 9 times out of 10 he has an agenda as well. Because any man that really wants to raise his child and make sure that child is being raised adequately and properly, he's going to take his time. He's going to make sure it's going to be with a woman who he really feels could be an asset to him and his child's future. You have other men around here, they don't care, like Nick Cannon. As long as you want a baby, they'll give you one, and that's all you're going to get. You're not going to be his wife. You're not going to be in the will. In an event he were to pass away, you got to compete and duke it out in court with 14, 15 other baby mamas. Ask DMX, rest in peace. We seen how it unfolded for his fiance when she was not able to get anything, even though she'd been with him 10 years and had a child from him, and that was her only child. But guess what? She didn't get anything out of it because she was not DMX's wife. Who all did it go to? DMX's oldest sons from his first wife, Tashira. Any woman who has any common sense, any real wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, she understands the value of taking her time. And even if it means missing out and not having a child, then so be it. Because it's better to wait than to be miserable and have to live with a lifetime of regret. Because once you have a child, that you can't get tired of that child and throw it back and say, oh, you know what? I realize this is too much. Your daddy ain't shit. You know, I really don't want to continue to be a mother to you. Life don't work that way. You know what I mean? Once you decide to have a child, that is a permanent decision you are stuck with. And you have plenty of women that are paying the price today. They're miserable, all because of being desperate, being thirsty. I got to have a child. And a lot of women, believe it or not, they have given up on the probability of marriage because there's a lot of men out there who just don't want to marry. And what is starting to happen is desperation is at an all-time high. So what women are doing now, since they know they can't get the ring on it, they're just automatically demoting themselves to baby mamas instead of being wives. And that comes from not raising their standards high and not being transparent and saying, I don't just want to have children. I want to have a family. Instead, they get desperate and they feel like if they don't take this opportunity, it may never come again, and they just accept being a baby mama. That is why there's so many women that are becoming mothers before they become wives. Because if you are a woman who has high self-esteem and you're not going to settle, even though you may be approaching your age, you're going to get it the right way, even if it means losing out. You know what I mean? And you have women like Ashanti who are taking that approach. And I think women who do things, who have done that, should be given the utmost respect instead of these men around here, and I'm not saying all men, I'm not going to generalize. You got some men who, like this brother, who had the audacity to criticize this woman and say that something is wrong with her because she's 42 years old and she's never been married and she don't have any children. Instead of him celebrating her, wow, we finally got one who got some common sense. She was condemned for not wanting to become a single mom or an unwed mother. You know, she's being condemned for it. Contrary to what many of you may not want to believe, there are a lot of black women out here who are getting hip to the game. They are observing how real the struggle is out here with a lot of these other sisters who have decided to take that route and who are regretting it. These are the sisters who are on Instagram, Facebook, bitching and complaining about how the child of their fathers is deadbeats. It's a lot of women out here. It's sad because it goes to show you that society thinks less of us, even when we're trying to do things the right way. Here it is. You got Sierra. Sierra decided to have her first child from Future, who already had multiple baby mamas. She saw her life going down a spiraling position. When she got involved with Future, she jumped ship, moved on with her son, and married Russell Wilson, who was a major upgrade as far as financially. This does not mean Future is less than a man or more than a man. You know, I'm not going to go there. But as far as society will put it, she upgraded and married a man that was willing to accept her, even with her, you know, choice that a lot of people wasn't fond of. She still caught a lot of heat for that. A lot of people to this day resent Russell Wilson because they feel like he simped for her, choosing a woman who obviously at the time of her mental psyche felt that Future was the ideal type of dude. So a lot of people ridiculed Russell for it. Like, you taking somebody's leftovers, your wife and a woman who went for a thug, you know, and you're simping for her, you know. Just these are the things that I heard, you know what I mean? Not necessarily stuff I agree with, but even Sierra changed the narrative and called herself going about it the right way, getting married this time, making sure, you know, the marriage was in place first before having children from Russell, and she still caught heat for it. A lot of people felt like she deserved it. A lot of people felt like, you know, how you know what I'm saying, get knocked up by a thug, and here it is, you know, you meet a man who don't have any children, who decides to take on the role of being a stepdad, because, you know, a lot of men who choose to take care of another man's children, they call it simping. They don't call it being a good stepfather. This is just the narratives. This is that the YouTube bashing, black bashing culture in which black men are bashing black women for their choices, and black women are bashing black men for their choices. This is just the type of, you know, chaotic concept that we're dealing with, you know what I mean? So we don't give each other a pass. But anyway, Sierra was dragged, and when she came out with her recent song about rooting for single mothers, they dragged her some more. Like, wait a minute, you're married now, so why are you singing anything that's celebrating single mother, you know, single motherhood? Damn if you do, damn if you don't. Long as you are a black woman, if you have too many goddamn kids, you know, they'll say you irresponsible, you're unstable, and you don't have good judgment. You're a black woman with no children, never been married. Something's wrong with you. Which one is it? Pick a side. Or is she a good black woman if she decides to not have children, even though she's over the age of 40, and not get married? Or does she have to have multiple children before she even reaches her 40 for you to feel like there's nothing wrong with her? It's a lot of contradiction. It's a lot of contradiction, but yet Nick Cannon, no one has anything to say about Nick Cannon because it's a man's world. And unfortunately, a lot of stereotypes out here are very sexist. Nobody has anything to say about Nick Cannon. Nobody has anything to say about Future. No one has anything to say about men who carry themselves in an immoral fashion, who have no problem, you know what I'm saying, passing out penis like bus transfers. No one has a problem with it. Lori Harvey catches a lot of heat from jumping from man to man to man in the industry. True indeed, she's young, but she ain't got knocked up by anybody. So at least if she's going to deal with multiple industry dudes, she's not somebody's wife. So she's not disrespecting her husband, and she's not getting knocked up by any of these men. She's not having their babies. But no one says anything about Future or Nick Cannon. It's a man's world. But at the same time, the women, I notice it's the women who are having children from him, from Nick Cannon and Future. They get dragged through the mud. And I have done it myself. And the reason I have done it was because I'm like, women, we have choices. We got all type of birth controls and things of that nature. But I also hold men accountable as well. You cannot be one-sided. It does take two to tangle. Even though on the scale, I do blame women 80% and I do blame the men 20%. Because I still feel like at the end of the day, as women, we are the owners of our vaginas. So we don't have to opt to be a baby mama unless that's something we really want. So, nevertheless, both people still play a part and both people got to be held accountable. But this whole situation was very disturbing to me. I'm amazed that as much as black women are being dragged through the mud, as much as we're the ones that are always catching heat for overpopulating the community with children that are being raised in single parent households, we're the ones getting ridiculed for depending on the system, needing welfare, needing child support. So you have a black woman who overcame that statistic. Not getting EPT, not getting food stamps, not getting welfare, don't have multiple children for multiple men, and yet she's getting ridiculed for it. So it just goes to show you, to my sisters out there, this is a prime example. It does not matter if you do things the right way or a better way. There's still, society is still going to find a way to ridicule you and still criticize you, even when you do things different from what a lot of these other sisters out here are doing. And it's unfortunate that it's the ratchet sisters that give decent black women a bad name. So even when you're doing the right thing, it looks like something is wrong with you, because the ratchetness has been normalized. The having multiple kids for multiple baby daddies before you're married, that has been normalized, and it's not even in a ratchet manner. You even women that have a little bit more that have a little bit more respect, you know, like Erykah Badu. No, she doesn't live in the projects. No, she doesn't have you know, she's not dependent on the system. She's a celebrity, but she has all of her children from different guys, and all of them are rappers. One of her children come from DOC. That was from NWA. Her daughter Puma. That's her father, DOC, from NWA. Her second child is from DJ Electronica. Her oldest boy is from Andre, I think it's Andre 3000. Her oldest son, 7, is from him. She has not been married to none of her children's father. Not knocking her, that's her preference, and she's still making her millions. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean, she's still successful. But we give women like that a pass. But women like Ashanti, who chose to go about it a different way and not get caught up, she's getting dragged for it. Now, it's not just in the celebrity world. I actually was on a panel not too long ago. I was on a panel, and there was one of the male panelists got into an argument with one of the female panelists. He decides to insult her by saying, you don't have any kids, so therefore something must be wrong with you. He basically attacked her womb by saying that something must be, she must be, cannot conceive children, she must be barren, because I guess him or her had an argument or a disagreement about something, and he decided to hit below the belt and basically insult her by saying that she must not be capable of having children. But like, she told him, okay, yeah, you have children, but you're not even married to your baby mama. So what does that make you? So the fact that he insulted her for not having children by saying she's barren, that is the attitude that a lot of these guys out here got. I ain't gonna say all men have this attitude, but you have some men that think if they meet a black woman who doesn't have children, they think something is wrong with her reproductive system. They think that she's barren or she can't have children. And that is, I want to debunk this myth because it is a very ignorant statement. It's very ignorant, and unless you know that sister personally, maybe she can't have children. And that's why you have to be careful with how you attack women, because you do have some women, and it's not just black women. You have women of all colors and races who are not able to produce children. And I think that is a disgrace when you attack a woman's womb, because you don't know if she was born with something genetically wrong that she had no control over. I just think that's really hitting below the belt. It really is. But you have some men that have emotion that's very emotionally damaged, like females, so they will attack females' problems that they know a woman really has no control over. So he'll attack her womb. That's why you can't have kids. Something must be wrong with you. Why? Because is it the ratchet culture? Because everybody's going around here raw dogging out multiple kids for multiple men. Y'all have learned to normalize the ratchet culture that the moment you encounter a black woman who does not have children, you think automatically she must be impotent. She must be barren. Or somebody gave her STD where she can't have children. What is wrong with giving some of these sisters out here credit where it's just stating she's just one of the few that was smart enough not to fall into the statistic? What's wrong with just giving a sister that much credit? Why she got to be barren? Why she have to have an STD? Or why, oh, you can't have kids? So you mean to tell me no black woman is smart enough not to have kids unless something is wrong with her? That is an insult. That is a disgrace. Because the truth is, I've talked to many women who just do not want to have children. Because they are peeping the bullshit from a mile away. They seeing what the single mother struggle. They see it's not fun and games. Women, we got friends that are in a single mother struggle. We got sisters, siblings that are in a single mother struggle. We see what they go through. It is no joke. Seeing when you got to take all of these kids to school by yourself, you got to get all 5 of them up in the morning, get them dressed. Out of 5 baby daddies, only 2 of them really cooperates and do what they supposed to do, but the other 3, you can't get nothing out of them. Even though a lot of sisters are glamorizing the struggle, any real sister out here with real common sense and spiritual discernment, we know better. Even with me being married with my one, I realized how challenging it was, even being married, having to do the bulk of the responsibility, because my husband owning his own company, it mostly left most of it on me. And I didn't have a problem with it. That's what I signed up for, even in marriage. But that's why I didn't have multiple children, even from my own husband, because I saw how hard it was with one. So, you know, I could only imagine a single mother with 5, 6 kids, multiple baby daddies, none of these dudes are on the same page. You know, it's a lot. And it's bad enough women out here getting dragged for it. You know, Kevin Samuels, definitely would drag women through the mud. Anytime they called and said, well, he said, how many kids you got? How many baby daddies you got? Soon as she say, I got 3 kids, you know, and I got 5 kids and 4 baby daddies, he was ripping her apart, you know. So, you have a lot of women out here, they just don't want the struggle. They don't want the child support that bad. They don't want the food stamps that bad. They don't want the housing that bad. They're not so thirsty and desperate that their biological clock is going to run out, that they're trying to get knocked up by anybody. You have some women that are willing to suffer it out, and it does not mean Ashanti does not want children. It does not mean she can't have children. You just got some women that ain't going there. It's a lot of them that ain't going there. Mary J. Blige didn't have any children. The singer Maya does not have any children. It's a couple of sisters out here who don't have kids. If y'all could think of some and put them in the chat room. It's a lot of women who like, damn that, until I know I got me the right man that's going to be my husband, that's going to help me raise my child. That way I'm not out here scratching and scrounging for child support and alimony and all this other stuff. I'm just not going there. You have some women that want to do it the right way. Not only that, some of us were raised, because from my understanding, Ashanti's sister also don't have kids. Some of us, contrary to what a lot of y'all want to believe, was raised by mothers who beat it in our heads. Marriage before carriage. Marriage before children. A lot of us were raised with mothers who understood the struggles, and they would beat that narrative into our heads until we understood it. We understood it. So not all black women was raised in households in which being a single mother was celebrated. You have a lot of sisters out here who have very strict mothers coming up, especially if that mother had a very strong religious type of mindset. You know, and let's face it, the majority of black women, our mothers, are overly religified, if that's even a real word, where they would basically scald you for even considering having a child before you get married. You have some black mothers who are dead set against their daughters having children before getting married, and women who have went against the mother's teachings have also had a very poor relationship with their mother, because you got some black mothers out here that are so overly religious, so overly religified, and who stayed in the church faithfully, and the moment their daughter got pregnant before they got married, that daughter became an embarrassment to them. It's a lot of sisters who can tell you they don't have a positive, nurturing relationship with their mothers because they did not follow those religious teachings. And what did it do to that mother? It embarrassed her. For her religious friends, her religious church peers and all of that, who knew, as strict as she was, for her daughter to get knocked up, it became a badge of disgrace. You have a lot of women, they don't have a relationship with their mother because of that very reason. They were very strict with their daughters about marriage, about carriage before marriage. And that daughter decided to go outside and be led by temptation, which in turn disgraced her mother. Because remember, her mother was always the holier than thou. and to have to face your church family and know that your daughter disgraced you was an embarrassment. Back then, it was an embarrassment for your daughter to get knocked up before she got wiped up. It was not celebrated back then. Today, it is highly celebrated. You got these young girls going to middle school passing out baby shower invitations. And it's the parents, they the dummies that are helping to plan the baby showers. All that's normal now. This is how far away the world has gotten. These mothers today, they're not embarrassed that their 13, 14-year-old daughters are getting knocked up. They're not ashamed. In fact, they celebrate it. In fact, they're the ones that are going to Party City buying up decorations and putting together the theme they want to celebrate for their pregnant, unwedded 14, 15-year-old who didn't even get a chance to get their damn high school diploma. And it's sad that the ratchery has become so normalized that the one or two few sisters who don't do it, your wise decisions is being questioned or criticized. What's wrong with her? She don't have any kids. Why? Because so many other black women got multiple children. So if you're not doing it, what's wrong with you? So many other sisters got multiple baby daddies. You only got one baby daddy. What's wrong with you? You know it's sad that as a black woman, if I tell a man I'm married with one child, he's shocked. For one, he's surprised that I'm married. And I've been married going on 23 years. And he's shocked I got one child. It's completely foreign. When my mother tells her friends how many grandchildren she has, and she says she only has one grandchild, people look at my mother like she's from a foreign goddamn country, because my daughter will be 22 come May. My other siblings, is 5 of us. The other 4 don't have children, don't want children. They think something is wrong with us. Because I'm the only one out of all 4 of my siblings who gave my mother a grandchild. And she's fine with it. She's not losing any sleep over it. My other siblings, they don't want any. And no, it's not because they're gay or my sister is impotent. They living their best life. They doing them. When I had my daughter and the time they spent with their niece and seeing how much work she was, they was like, we good. We good, sis. We good. I broke that generational curse when they will have to keep Rissa for me sometimes. I have to change her diapers and stuff. So, people have to give credit where credit is due. Hats off to Ashanti. Listen, Ashanti has my utmost respect. It's not too many women that have beat the odds. I commend her for being focused on her career. I commend her for not being desperate and thirsty, worrying about her biological clock expiring, or the battery running low to it. I commend her for rising above that, because truth is, a lot of women want to be in love. A lot of women want children. It doesn't mean she don't want it. I'm sure she does. I'm sure she probably wants a family. But truth is, look at the fuckery in the industry. Look at how many people going around here raw dogging each other. These industry dudes, they don't want to marry nobody. Look at Lil Wayne. Look at Drake. Nelly, she been with him 10 years. The fact that she was with Nelly 10 years lets you know Ashanti is a relationship type of woman. You know, call her stupid, call her dumb for waiting on him for 10 years. But I can respect that versus a woman every year out of 10 years got a child. From every man she met throughout 10 years, she got 10 kids. Because you got some women that do dumb shit like that. They see the other 3, 4 baby daddies left, and they still keep getting pregnant from every dude thinking it's going to change. She's finally going to land this one, only to get left again. Now she has added on multiple children that she has to take care of by herself. So I commend Ashanti, and I commend other black women out here who are doing this as well. Don't let society pressure you and to make you feel like you're impotent. You can't conceive children. Something must be mentally wrong with you. You must be mentally challenged. It's called having discretion and common sense and not following the trend. Just because it's worked for other women, and you got some women out here who have been very good mothers, children still became successful, even being single mothers. It does not mean their children did not become successful. I know some children who were raised in two-parent households still end up in prison, still end up on drugs. So it just really depends on what type of parent you are. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really dictate, but statistics do show that the majority of children who are troubled come from single-parent households. So I commend Ashanti. Ashanti, keep doing just what you're doing until you find the right king to have your prince or your princess for. You are doing the right thing, because that's why Ashanti looks so good. Why you think her body is still banging? She ain't got all that damn stress. She ain't let no man put all type of goddamn stretch marks on her body where she looking like a goddamn road map, or she looking like she got a big old oatmeal cream pie, you know, flapping from her stomach. She looks good because she's stress-free. Children are stressful. Being child-free means being stress-free. She looks good. The woman still has a banging body. She looks happy. She don't look worn out, stressed out, dragged out, because she ain't arguing with multiple baby daddies every other week. When I'm going to get EPT? When you going to pick up little JJ on your visitation day? She ain't got that kind of stress. That is called happiness. Being child-free is not the end of the world, ladies. Do what's best for you. If you're happy having multiple children from multiple men, live your best life. If you're happy not having children from anybody, live your best life. But dude, you need to go on with that, bro. Don't start that, because all that's doing is making these young girls think that a man don't value them unless they have different baby daddies. Why would you put that narrative out there when you already got a lot of black women who want men to co-sign on that? Because the truth is, a lot of them have failed themselves by having multiple children for multiple men, and what they want is somebody to stroke their ego and say, it's okay, so what, you got 6, 7 baby daddies, you still a queen, you still got it going on. Don't stop pushing that narrative, because we don't need the next generation of women normalizing this type of fuckery. We don't need it normalized, okay? But anyway, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this. This had really pissed me off, because, again, we already got young women up here like Krishan Rock, who's so happy about to be a single mom. And listen, we got young women coming up, and it's so easy for these young women to be manipulated or coerced into making very bad decisions. Don't push this narrative. It's not a good look. Leave y'all comment below before y'all leave. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Again, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, represent Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always breaking you off with a slice of knowledge or pouring you a cup of truth. Ladies, if you have not already, subscribe to my channel, Mocha's Ladies Lounge. That's my channel for women only. Please, again, hit that like button before y'all exit. Y'all be blessed. Take care.